Hello, and welcome to this week's video for test number 3, The Good King, found on page 7, number 33 in your book. Before we get started on playing, let's talk a little bit about the rhythm in this piece. It has a little bit of what we call syncopation, where instead of the beat lining up on 1, 2, 3, 4, we have a funky little thing where it's on 2 and 4. It goes a little like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. You want to try that with me? We'll count, tap, clap. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. How'd you do? Let's try it again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. If you feel like you have that down, you'll be able to play it much more comfortably. Let's work on count, tap, clapping the piece before we start making sound. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. How'd you do? Can you clap the rhythms correctly? If so, you're ready to move on to the next step. Let's work on a couple of the more tricky fingering spots in this piece. You'll find in the very first measure, we're working from fa to sol. Let's just practice fa, sol, or F, G. Say it with me. F, G, F, G, F, G. If you can consistently push down your valve, say the note, and release it and say the correct note, you are set for success. Let's move to the second measure, where we're going from F to C, or fa to do. F, C, F, C, F, C. Work on saying that until you don't mess up at all. Next, let's take a look at measure 3. In measure 3, on trumpet in particular, there's one thing that we need to start working on, and that is kicking out our third valve slide when we play D, 1 and 3. Let's practice that. D, C, D, C, D, C. Notice when I push down 1 and 3, I also simultaneously kick out my third valve slide. It looks like this. D, C, D, C, D, C, D, C. Practice that on your own until you can't forget to kick out the third valve slide when you push down 1 and 3. Let's talk about those two letters, N, B, in parentheses, that you find in between the second and third measure, as well as in between the 6th and 7th measures. NB stands for no breath. You want to work on filling up big enough to last through that half note into the next measure, like this. Notice how when you get a big enough breath, you can last all the way to the quarter rest in the 4th measure. That's our goal. Let's remind ourselves of the solfege for The Good King. It starts on fa. Practice singing it before we buzz it and then play it. Fa, fa, sol, fa, fa, do, re, mi, fa, 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 sol, fa, fa, do, re, mi, fa. If you can sing it, now we can work on buzzing it on our mouthpiece. Great job buzzing through the piece first. Let's now work on putting it all together and playing through the entire piece, The Good King. Congratulations, you've made it through the entire piece. Now you can move on to the next test. Thanks for joining, and as always, happy playing.